Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone for another edition of the Legion of Raw post show. I was on the phone with Ice Train about a couple hours ago, and he said he'd be ready to rock, and haven't heard back from him. So, Ice Train, you're being publicly called out, my friend. Me and him are friends, but I guess he must have fell asleep or something like that. Not quite sure, ladies and gentlemen, but at the same time, it's cool. I got the fans with me. It's a very big crowd. What's up, Dave? What's up, Demisio? What's up, everybody? Again, if you want to show some love, if you have some questions about Raw, go ahead and hit that super chat. What's up, Jamie? Go ahead and hit that super chat. If you want to do that, and your questions will stick out. Well, how's everybody doing? We got some Raw to talk about. Let me know what y'all thought of Raw. We got Damon in the building. We got Philip in the building. Dave thought Raw was awesome. Nice. If you want your comment to stick out, hop over YouTube and hit up that super chat. So, but yeah, Ice Train. I got a really good feeling that Ice Train is going to uh is going to probably text me in the morning and be like, "Hey man, I was asleep. I'm sorry, man. I fell asleep. I'm so sorry, man." Um, let's see. All right. Um, thoughts on yeah. So like I said, hit that super chat for the comments to stand out. It's a lot of people watching right now. Lots of comments to sift through. Super chat will stand out the most. I'll try to get as many comments as I can. But like I said, the super chat comments will be the ones that will stand out the most. All right, so let's go through the Raw review, and if there are any comments, I will address that at the end. I'll address that at the end. Trying to get some. Let's see. All right, let's start with Alexa Bliss welcoming Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. The Fiend comes out. The two stand in the ring. The Retribution comes out and corners the Fiend and Bliss. Lights go out, and then by the time they came on, the Fiend and Bliss were gone, and then after that, the Hurt Business comes out, attacks Retribution, leads to their match. Okay, so this particular segment was just a bunch of chaos to me. It was just all over the place. First of all, you have the Fiend, you have the Hurt Business, and you have Retribution. Those are the three strongest heels on Raw right now. Why in the world would the three strongest heels on Raw have some type of feud going on? I think that was one of the stupidest things. That just didn't make any sense to me. It was just all over the place. And so I wasn't a fan of that at all. I thought that was really stupid to just hop on, just to have the three biggest heels feud against each other. To me, the Hurt Business versus Retribution makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense at all. Especially when you're supposed to really make the heels and make the heels stand out. And this makes no sense at all to me. You're supposed to make the heels stand out and make them be heels. Why are we cheering for either one of them? You have the Hurt Business being heels, feuding against the baby faces with Ricochet and Apollo. Apollo's gone now. Ricochet was nowhere in sight. And so you have heels, and we saw in this backstage segment that they're heels. They're not turning babyface. They're still heels. Retribution comes in, causes chaos. They're supposed to be heel. The Fiend is clearly a heel, and he should be a heel with Alexa Bliss. Does not make sense whatsoever. And again, there's a lot of comments coming in. I can't sift through them all. If you want your comment to stand out, go and hit that super chat, and it will stand out more than anything. I'll try to sift. I'll try to get as many comments as I possibly can. Otherwise, like I said, go to YouTube and hit the super chat, and that will actually stand out. Let's see. I got a wrestler who just hit me back up. Yeah, I just had a wrestler hit me up. All right. So yeah, I just, to me, again, that doesn't make any sense at all. I find no purpose in that. There's no end game. There's no buy-in. Who am I gonna root for? Why am I rooting for them? Who am I cheering for? Who is the baby face? You have there was more questions than answers that came out of that segment. And for the following weeks, clearly you don't want me to root for them, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't make any sense at all. No one should be rooting for the Fiend. The Fiend is clearly a heel. He should be a heel. The fact that they see this is the issue with, and Anthony saying Fiend is like Taker. He's a heel that people love so much that he's almost a babyface. No, a heel like Taker is not a heel. Taker was not a heel. I mean, when he was a babyface, he was a babyface. He was a mysterious, unique babyface, but he was all about, uh, uh, taking souls and digging holes and all that. It's like, there's people who like the Fiend. The people who love the Fiend, but that's it's an acquired taste. He's an acquired taste. But whether you like him or not, the fact that you do like him is he's doing a. I always say this: if there's a lot of people who like a heel, he's doing a bad job as a heel, or she's doing a bad job as a heel. Because the goal of the matter is for a heel to make you love to hate him. As simple as that. And there's of course the Fiend. Of course the Fiend. Let's see. I think he got some. I think he got a wrestler. I'm talking to a wrestler right now, actually. So yeah, you want the wrestler. You want the heel to love to hate you. I mean, that's you want them to. You want the heel wants you to love to hate them, and if they're not doing that, they're not doing a good job as a heel. Simple as that. A heel is supposed to be a heel. It's supposed to be a villain. It's supposed to be a bad guy. It's not a bad guy if it's a good guy by most of the crowd. Now I know that the Fiend has some nuances that makes people more intrigued in him. True, but at the same time, if he's supposed to make you hate him and he's not doing his job correctly. And I think with the Fiend, like I said, it's a different mysterious type of thing. When the crowd was there, he for the most part he was starting to get booed. When he was feuding against Seth and it was new and fresh, it worked. But at the same time, there's nothing about the Fiend that is called like. There's nothing about the Fiend that's causing people to want to like him. I mean, he's doing a good job as a heel. He's just doing, the weird thing about the Fiend is now they're having him, beat up Retribution. I mean, beforehand he was, feuding against Braun Strowman, who was becoming a heel, and then at the same time, he went to Kevin Owens, who's a babyface, and so Braun Strowman was going into heel. He was a babyface, and then he went to heel. And then what does that make the Fiend? And it was weird. And then he made himself a heel again because Kevin Owens is a face, so he was feuding with him. And now he's going over to Retribution. Retributions are heels, but Alexa Bliss is making a heel turn. It's just, look, and I've said this before, if you are making it confusing for the hardcore lifer fans, how in the world are you going to have a casual fan jump in to an episode of Raw and try to get into it? It's just not going to happen. You're making it confusing. You're not delineating the faces or the heels. The reason why characters aren't developed correctly is because you have a lot of people, you have a lot of baby faces and heels that are not being properly established as someone to love or to hate. And you're going and you're rooting, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. So I think I think it's just ridiculous. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. That you're doing that. I don't think it's a purpose of I think it hurts your character. I think it absolutely hurts your character trying to make someone 50-50, because it's like you got half the crowd hating them, you got half the crowd loving them, but you're trying to make them hate them, but half the crowd loves them, and it's a split. It's an absolute split, and there's not, when it's a split in the crowd, you're not going. I mean, you have only half of the crowd rooting for him and half the crowd booing him, and that's stifling. That's a stalemate. That's essentially what that is. It's an absolute stalemate. It's a stalemate when you're having half of the crowd boo you and then half of the crowd cheer you. It's an absolute stalemate. That does no progression. It does not progress one's character whatsoever. Absolutely zero progression if you have half the crowd boo and half the crowd cheer. So the problem with WWE is that they're stalemating a lot of characters by having them go against a heel this week and kind of play the baby face and play a tweener. It's an absolute stalemate. You got to have someone rally behind you as the baby face, or someone love to hate you and you do a really good job as a heel, because the whole points of heels is to build enough heat to pass it over to the baby faces, because they look good by getting all that heat, and then they make the baby face look good by passing that heat over to them. When you get all this split stuff, you don't know who to root for, and then the person who they root for, half of them's cheering them, half of them's booing them, and then now you just have a feud full of stalemates, and no one's progressing. That's the reason why the intrigue of Raw and SmackDown. Actually, you have Roman Reigns, who's definitely playing a very good heel right now. SmackDown's a different animal to me. The SmackDown, for the most part, is doing a pretty good job. Actually, SmackDown's one of my favorite shows to watch every week. But when it comes to Raw, though, you have just a bunch of, missing pieces and just dots and just a bunch of mess. So I wasn't a big fan of this segment, because it started off with three heels, three of the biggest heels on Raw, feuding against each other. And then snap of a finger, Retribution just loses. I mean, with all this build to them, they just lose. That's it. They just lose. No rhyme or reason. No build. They could have built their first loss to SummerSlam, to Survivor Series, and let's see. All right, so I got former NXT star Kenneth Johnson, who's about to hop on real quick. Promote his stuff and his stuff. So I'm about to have Kenneth Johnson hop on real quick. Um, cool. Cool. Kenneth Johnson's about to hop on. Good stuff. All right, so buddy of mine, Kenneth Johnson. So yeah, so I'm gonna have him come on real quick, promote some things that he has going on. He's got some new clothing too. So former NXT and Cruiserweight Classic star will be hopping on here soon. So yeah, I mean, again, it's just didn't make any sense. I think the build for their first loss should have been much better than what it is, but than what we saw. I mean, to lose on their first match collectively, they lost on their first match collectively on Raw with all that build, all the chaos, everything in between. You lose on your first match, your first official match on Raw as a 4-man unit. Wow, you couldn't even build that to SummerSlam, Survivor Series. You know, the 4-on-4, it just makes sense. It's next month, and it would have made perfect sense to build this up to your first loss. But at the same time, first of all, you're feuding against another heel team, which is the Hurt Business, which is stupid. But you can't even build your first loss on a major pay-per-view after all these weeks of hype. It just goes to show what I saw in that was already Vince McMahon has lost his faith in Retribution. Somehow there's a part. Yeah, exactly, Angel. Great writing. So yeah, and it's like after all of that, after all the hype, you lose your first match on an episode of Raw. No build. I mean, couldn't even save it to a pay-per-view. And what made it even worse, you had the Fiend take the whole team out. You have the Hurt Business beating them in a competitive match, kind of competitive. I mean, Hurt Business did dominate a lot of that, but a semi-competitive match, and then you have the Fiend just wipe them all out. You know, it's just that really goes to show within one segment, just like that, Retribution poof, done, poof, and then they try to salvage it by having a promo at the end. I mean, yeah, exactly. Tap out their big guy at that, exactly. And I will give it to Dominic Dijakovic though. He did, I've said this on my show a bunch of times. I said Dominic Dijakovic need to gain some weight, and looks like he gained a good 20 pounds or so, and he finally looks, like just girthy, so finally, because he definitely needed to gain some weight. He was tall and slim. He was a little bit too slim for his height, and I'm glad he got some meat on him now. And that's good that he actually looks like a big guy. He looks like a big man finally. That he that he finally got some weight. I've been saying that for a while. He's gained about 20, 30 pounds, and it looks like he finally did. So that's good. That will help him. I think after this Retribution crap goes away, I think Dominic Dijakovic, because he has a promising future, especially after gaining weight. So I would say grow his hair back. They did doing the bald look for him. Just it's not working out for him. So, like I said, they try to salvage it by having Mustafa Ali say, well, you got all these people, you got these wrestlers who were, and then the promo of why they became Retribution, it was just the generic expected promo of we've been held back and greedy wrestlers, and I mean just the generic expected promo from Retribution. And then the way to tie in the hacker, well, I'll admit I was the hacker. It just really seemed like WWE wanted to tie up the loose ends of why Mustafa Ali was Retribution, just to have him shut up and they be gone. If this is a way to make them feel better, to make them gain, some steam or gain some wins, the worst thing you can do is just have them lose the first match, though. I mean, just that's just bad. That's absolutely bad. Demisio said Retribution came at the Fiend Bray Wyatt, though. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, they booked that, though. I mean, they didn't have to book that. They shouldn't have booked that. The Retribution's a heel, Fiend's a heel. The Fiend didn't have anything to do with Retribution, and the Retribution and Fiend beats him up, which he should have. He should have came back. That made the Fiend look good, which is good. I'm glad it did that at least. But all of this, the Hurt Business looked good and the Fiend looked good, all at the expense of Retribution, who they've been hyping up for a long time. That's my issue. And it really goes to show, once again, I mean, I don't know what Vince McMahon has against Mustafa Ali. I have no idea. Let's see. Got another. Got some people who are reaching out. Yeah. All right. So this is the most it's a relevant time to start reaching out to me. All right. So let's go on. Yeah. So look, it made the Fiend look good. The only problem with that is it made Retribution look bad. And again, I don't know what Demisio does agree with that. I don't know what Vince McMahon has against Mustafa Ali. I don't know what he has against him, but it's clear that he has something against him. It seems like Triple H or Bruce Pritchard, I don't know, someone just keeps going to bat for this guy. And then Vince will see him on TV a few weeks and be like, I don't like him. That's what it seems like every time, because every time Mustafa Ali comes back, he'll be on TV for like 3 or 4 weeks and then he'll go away again. And then he'll be on TV, then he'll go away. They tried to give him a push before he got hurt. Kofi goes in there. He never gets a push back again. He comes back and then leaves, and then gets injured, comes back and leaves, comes back again and leaves. He was actually clear to wrestle. He was just fine, but they didn't have anything for him. So he was gone off TV for a long time. And then they brought him back. Then he would win a couple matches, go away, win a couple matches, go away. And then now he's with Retribution. And after a few weeks, they just lose their first match. I don't know what Vince McMahon has against Mustafa Ali, but it doesn't seem like, I don't know. It's weird to say that Vince McMahon has something personal against Mustafa Ali, because, if that was the case, he wouldn't have him as an employee. But it seems as if Vince McMahon, what it seems like is there's one or two or more people in the back who are trying to go to bat for Mustafa Ali, and Vince will see him and he'll be like, "Who is this guy? Get him off my TV." So, yeah, I feel sorry for Mustafa Ali. AJ Styles in-ring promo with Jordan Almgbehin. I'm open to this. I'm open to this tandem. I'm open to it. I think it's a new heel twist. It's a different heel twist for AJ. You know, sometimes they try the big man, the random big man with the heels like Bam Neely and Jackson Andrews. Um, they'll try the random heels with the smaller guys. Of course, they had Ezekiel Jackson. Actually, I'm friends with Reclon, but Ezekiel Jackson kind of worked when he was with um, Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick, but it didn't really pan out to work very well. Jackson Andrews, I believe his name was, when he was with Tyson Kidd, that didn't work. I think he was with Tyson Kidd. Was he with Tyson Kidd? I know it was like for a hiccup. Um, I'm almost positive he was with Tyson Kidd. Yeah, he was with Tyson Kidd. And so, yeah, didn't work. Didn't work. And so here's another one. You have Jordan the bouncer, or the Raw underground bouncer with AJ Styles. Now, and here's the thing with AJ. At least AJ is established enough to make him look good, to make the enforcer look good, because clearly they're trying to do something with him, and they're trying to fill a spot in. But you know, I think AJ will help that. So I'll give it. I'm open to this tandem. Dude's a absolute freak of nature, anyways, and so I'm open to it. I'm open to it. It makes AJ. It gives a fresh feel for AJ, and it makes Jordan look good. So I'm open to it. I'm open to it. He beats Matt Riddle though. I'm wondering if see again, man. They are. It doesn't make sense. Um, it doesn't make sense at all, man. Why they would just make Matt Riddle just lose? I mean, yeah, okay, you get a promo, Matt Riddle, and then you lose to AJ Styles. Yeah, makes sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Um, let's see. Next we have Drew McIntyre cuts a backstage promo. Then next we have Asuka versus defeating Lana. We knew this was going to happen. We knew Asuka was going to defeat Lana. That was pretty clear. So for the fifth time, Lana goes to the table. For the fifth time, um, Lana goes to the table. It's very clear that there's something. Yeah, I mean, I can see this, but why give him a promo though? That's like why make him like a deal? Make doesn't make sense to me. So Lana, right? Um, okay. Well, they're not letting. It's not letting Kenneth on for some reason. Um, yeah, not quite sure. Let's see. Maybe we can do it this way. Um, all right. Cameo. Let's do a cameo real quick. Hold on, real quick. Here's a cameo. right, so I'm trying to get Kenneth Johnson working here, former NXT and Cruiserweight Classic star. Um, okay, his said his screen is freezing. All right, while we get him on, trying to get this together, I'm not quite sure, but I'll keep going on. We're gonna have a cameo from Kenneth Johnson here. All right, so Jax and what I think of the cell being red again. It looks it looks pretty bad. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to brand the cell. Um, the only thing is the cell has already got to the cell has already gotten so bad. The cell match, it's overdone. They shouldn't have a pay-per-view Hell in a Cell. That's for starters. They shouldn't make it a pay-per-view. It's overdone. I remember when it was a thing. I remember when it was, it meant more. It meant like just a grueling, gory, just malicious, match. It was a culmination. It was a culmination of a feud. We can't. We There's no other way to settle this but Hell in a Cell. There's no other way to settle this. But you're making this. It's a pay-per-view every year, so we're going to have a pay-per-view. We're going to have a Hell in a Cell every year, and it's just a minor pay-per-view. And it's not necessarily a culmination. Like Orton and Drew seems like a culmination, but it may not. If Orton wins, it's not going to be the culmination of a feud. So there's no entry, there's no hype to the match. It's just like, we'll just settle this in Hell in a Cell. Now, for me, it just seems as if Jay and Roman was Hell in a Cell, without it being a pay-per-view, it would be much better to me, because you're going to do a Hell in a Cell at Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. But at the same time, if you lose that Hell in a Cell, mandate, and you build up a few to be Hell in a Cell without it being a pay-per-view, then it makes it more organic. It makes it feel more organic. It makes it feel very contrived if we know it's going to be a Hell in a Cell match or two at the pay-per-view. It makes it feel contrived. I'm not necessarily buying into it because it doesn't make sense. So right now you've got, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have 3 matches on Hell in a Cell. So Orton Drew's confirmed. The women's match is I think the women's match is in there, but then you have Jay and Roman. I know they're doing an I Quit match. And I think it's in the Cell too. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's in the Cell. So I think we're having 3 Hell in a Cell matches. Yeah, I mean, Roman and Jay's a Hell in a Cell. All the matches right now, except for Elias and Jeff Hardy. Right, first of all, there's only 4 matches. This is the go home show to Hell in a Cell. There's only 4 matches. 4 matches booked for this event. And this is the go home show for Hell in a Cell, and there's 4 matches. Yeah, there'll probably be some more matches for SmackDown, but there'll probably maybe a couple, and so, man, it's not good. It's not good at all. So yeah, and again, it goes back to, it feels contrived. It absolutely feels contrived that you're forcing us to want to be intrigued to watch Hell in a Cell matches. What's the next segment? Oh yeah, so Asuka beats Lana. Jax blindsides Lana. Asuka. Baszler and Jax corners Lana, and then Lana goes through the table once again. So clearly, clearly, they're doing this for to because it seems as if I would say clearly because it seemed like it's very clear that they're doing all of this because they're being petty because of Miro. It really seems that we're seeing some pettiness here, and it's sad that Lana has to take the brunt out of Miro leaving and going to AEW. Lana's still with WWE, and it's clear that they're somehow deciding to make Lana get the brunt out of all of this. And Lana did nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, she made the decision to stay with WWE. That's what I don't understand. Now, I wouldn't give her the title because she's got a lot of work to do for sure. But you had her manage Natalia, which was just off, anyways. And then now she's nowhere. She won a number one contenders match just to get beat up again. And now she's left with nothing. Now she can't even manage anybody. She's not even going to manage anybody. Maybe all of this is leading to Lana managing Baszler and Jax. Maybe. I don't think so. But WWE, if you're looking at this show, you're welcome. If I came up with that idea, I think that's the only thing that can create any solace out of all of this. Just have Lana manage Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. She's without nothing now. She's been, Samoan drops through the table 5 times. And perhaps this is her initiation because, Lana, because Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are so dominating. Maybe this is her initiation to say, you know what? I've been Samoan dropped 5 times. I've got some toughness. I've got an extra level of toughness, and maybe I'm good enough to manage them. Yeah. Amos is agree. Hell in Cell should be a special match. Yeah. Yeah. Again, y'all, if there's I mean, there's a lot of questions I can't handle. I can't get to all of them. The best bet is just to go move over to YouTube and hit and do super chat. I do see Pretes here. What do you think of Lucha House Party not recognizing Otis under the mask? We'll get to that segment. This segment was awful. Jackson Baszler defeating Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And so they call out teams, and it really goes to show how bad the tag team division is. Because here are the teams. The teams were Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Still doesn't make sense why they would, build Mandy Rose for so long. They would give her promos. She reluctantly went to Raw because of the Miz. They gave her promos to kind of hype her up. And then she comes in with Dana Brooke, who wasn't traded, who wasn't a Raw superstar. And then at the draft, they're like, oh, by the way, Dana Brooke, the person who said, hey, I'm with Mandy. Yeah, she's on Raw permanently now. And now they're teaming up. The team still doesn't make any sense to me. And so that's a team that's a few weeks old. Then you have the Riot Squad, who's actually a legit team, but they got drafted to SmackDown. But they're like, oh, well, since the titles can be defended on every brand, we'll just come. Kenneth Johnson's his video is not working, so no worries. No worries. That is jacking up right now, he said. All right, so and then you have Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans, ladies and gentlemen. Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. What? So you had Peyton Royce split up with Billy Kay to give Peyton Royce an opportunity just to have her team up with Lacey Evans? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the welcome to the women's tag division. And you wonder why they only have one title throughout all the brands, because you have teams like Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans teaming up with each other. No rhyme or reason. They actually played as if they didn't like each other. Exactly. Stupid. Stupid. Yeah, James, days 30 from 1990, not 98 to 15 long gone, make way for the Blues Clues Fire fun segments of PG. I don't mind the PG era. I think one of the best eras of pro wrestling history was the golden era in the 80s, and that was PG. So I mean, they allowed blood, but they couldn't use profanity or get raunchy or anything like that. But it was gory in the sense of blood. But I have a lot of friends who are like old school wrestlers: Bobby Fulton, Black Bart, superstar Bill Dundee. I'm friends with all three of them, and they could you couldn't be like scandalous. You couldn't use any profanity, and so there was a PG ish feel to it. But the reason why it was different from the current era is because a lot of their matches, I mean, they would cut. They would blade all the time. I mean, there's blood everywhere all the time. Like Ric Flair, he's in a crimson mask, so there was always blood. So that was definitely the difference. I don't mind. I don't mind a little color if someone's up to it. And if it's safe, I don't mind a little color to beef up a match. So yeah, that's definitely the difference. Lots of color back in the day. Yeah. Yeah. Kenneth said he wants to come on soon. He wants to come on next time. Let's see. So next we have Elias, his concert. It goes for the encore, but Jeff Hardy had the guitar. To me, that was just a whack segment. Just a whack segment. I mean, you can tell that the segment you can tell that the Elias segment was dubbed. You can tell it was dubbed. I mean, you could tell it wasn't him. It was him singing, but it was a dubbed version of him. He was just kind of pantomiming it. It definitely seems like. So that kind of took it away from me, just because it felt and it looked dubbed. So I wasn't involved, and it was very clear that Jeff Hardy was going to be a part of this. This still doesn't make sense. Elias thought that Jeff Hardy was the culprit of him getting a accident, but he said the person had red hair, but Jeff Hardy didn't have red hair during the time of the accident. Lots of loose ends that doesn't make sense. Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus this is actually one of the good parts of Raw. It was a good match. It wasn't a bunch of fluff. It wasn't a bunch of just confusion. It was a match between Kofi Kingston and Sheamus. Kofi Kingston wins. It makes Kofi look good. He was your world champion last year, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget that. He was your world champion last year. So a win against Sheamus, another multi-time world champion, It was good. It was long. It was a good match, and it made Kofi look good. So that was one of the things that I did like about Raw. Finally, so yeah, absolutely. James asking, I think Lana should go to AEW after the way WWE has been treating her cause of what Rusev said about WWE. Of course, she should go to AEW, but she can't just drop out of her contract like that. So it's clear that WWE is like, since we got the independent contractor, in our grips, that's an oxymoron. Since we have the independent contractor in our grips, we're just going to make it look like an idiot. So very petty. That's a very terrible way to establish a relationship. Even if you leave the company, see that makes the WWE look bad because people are going to have sympathy for Lana now wherever she goes. They're going to have sympathy for Lana, and it's going to make Lana look better. I mean, so because it's going to be very clear, like if Lana gets treated like this for the rest of her tenure in WWE, and she goes to AEW, people are legitimately going to get behind Lana because they're going to advocate the fact that she's a free woman now. Like it's going to be freedom. It's going to be like you're going to feel Lana being free and exhaling from getting Samoan dropped through a table every week from Nia Jax. That it's going to feel liberating when Lana goes, to AEW. So she's going to have a bunch of stock behind her. She's going to have a bunch of support, a bunch of sympathy. So she's going to be a hot ticket when she leaves WWE because of this. It's not making her. This is making her look horrible in WWE, but it's just gaining sympathy for her when she leaves. So Titus O'Neil looked like an idiot backstage. Offers himself to be a part of the Hurt Business, and Hurt Business not only rejects the offer but just attacks him. Why? What you just made your number one, the America's greatest dad. According to a lot of people, I would say that I'm America's greatest dad, but I understand Titus is very, he's highly acclaimed for being the father that he is. So I'll give him kudos through that. The ambassador for WWE, you make him look like an idiot in the statement, look like a leech saying, "Oh, I want to be a part of the Hurt Business. I'll make it worldwide." And then you make the Hurt Business look more like heels. They're feuding against Retribution, who are heels, by the way, who are just no nonsense anarchist heels. But at the same time, you make Titus look like an idiot. Why not join? I mean, he's a 6'4", 300-pound ex-football player who can hold his own. All right, make him look like make him join. I mean, he could. Why not join? So even if you didn't want him to join, even if you feel like the Hurt Business would be overcrowded, don't have this type of segment. I mean, nothing about this segment did anything for anybody. It didn't make the Hurt Business look better. It didn't make them look like, it didn't make them look, it didn't grow their stock at all. And it definitely didn't make Titus look good. It made him look like an idiot. It made him look like a big reject. That's what it made him look like. A big, huge 6'4" reject, and it was a bad segment. Tucker and El Grand Gordo defeating Miz and Morrison. Poor Miz and Morrison. I mean, what a horrible segment. I like Otis. Not a lot of people like Otis, but I like Otis. But I didn't like Otis in this spot. It was absolutely terrible. They just beat Miz and Morrison every week. I mean, they have nothing for Miz and Morrison, man. They're just kind of cashing in their checks and just taking the L every week. Firefly Funhouse. Now you got Alexa Bliss a part of it. Yeah. Keith Lee beating Braun Strowman. He does a low blow head style, using the back of his head, gives him a boot and pins Keith Lee, ladies and gentlemen. He pins Keith Lee. Keith Lee gives him a low blow and starts talking down at him, makes Braun Strowman whine. He makes him look puny and whiny. Braun Strowman, ladies and gentlemen. This segment was terrible. It made Braun Strowman look bad and Keith Lee look bad because Keith Lee takes an L, just a couple months after he debuted. You're supposed to make Keith Lee look like a monster, and he loses to a big boot. It was what a terrible match. I don't even like this feud, by the way, because it really doesn't do anything for either one of them. You're supposed to make, like, right now, Keith Lee should be plowing through people. You should make Keith Lee look like an absolute babyface monster. He's supposed to be like the black babyface Vader. That's who Keith Lee should be right now. He should be the black babyface Vader. He should be plowing through heels like left and right. You have Akira Tozawa there. You have plenty of options. Drew Gulak seems like he's healing it up now again. So he should be plowing through people, absolutely plowing through people. But you had him feud against Randy Orton, which was 50-50 basically. Some throwaway match against Dolph Ziggler didn't do anything to him. And then you had him feud against Drew McIntyre, fellow babyface, that didn't do anything to him. That didn't do anything for him at all. And now Braun Strowman, which again is doing nothing for him. What a terrible way to build a star. And then lastly, you get Randy Orton in-ring promo, cuts it inside the cell, and then Drew McIntyre comes out and uses the bolt cutters to cut the cell. So way too much interaction physical with Drew and Randy Orton. I love Drew. Drew is actually a buddy of mine. He's one of my favorite WWE wrestlers right now. I'm so glad that he's had the belt for 6.5 months. But this feud, I'm over it. I'm over it. It's not even about it being too long, because I don't mind long feuds as long as I'm intrigued into it. I don't care how long the feud is. Like, for instance, Gargano and Ciampa was like a 2-year feud. I was into Gargano and Ciampa because there was time after time. There were different layers and there's different nuances and layers to peel from Gargano Ciampa. And it just really came full circle. It was really, it was like a 2-year feud, man. It was a really good feud. Gargano and Ciampa was one of the best feuds in NXT history because there were so many layers to peel over 2 years. And so it doesn't really matter how long it is. If I'm intrigued, it can be a 6-month feud. That's how old school, that's how it was. Feuds were 3 to 6 months because there was such an end game. There was an end game in mind. There was a 6-month end game in mind, and they would pick and they would put all the pieces together to lead up to the end game that was supposed to be originally like 6 months ahead of time. I heard that Gato, who books New Japan, he'll have stuff like years out, like a year or two out, and he'll have something in mind as far as the book, and he'll put the pieces together. That's why New Japan's product is so good, because there's an end game in mind. So that's how wrestling should be booked. That's how it was. You had an end game. You had something to look forward to. You had the end in mind. You began with the end in mind, and you put the pieces together to lead us there. You basically you have the end in mind. You already knew. It was just like a movie. It was getting us intrigued in the movie, and you already have the end in mind. And what you do is you create the plot, you thicken the plot, you take us through the journey, you narrate us. There's ebbs and flows, there's ups and downs, there's shocking moments, there's sad moments, there's angry moments, there's happy moments. You take us through the ride because you already know what the end is, you already know what the conclusion is, and so you narrate us through the plot. What I feel a lot of times at WWE is like they may have an end in mind, and basically we're watching a WWE movie, and they're like, "Oh, hold on, let me erase this real quick," and we're like, "What?" Like you're supposed to be guiding us through the story. And so we'll be watching a movie theater and they're like, "Oh, scratch that. Hold on real quick. No, wait a minute. No. Okay, here we go. Watch this. No. Scratch that. No. Wait. No, watch this." And now we're like, "Okay, I'm done. Like I'm not interested. Like I've lost my interest because I came in here wanting to navigate through this story and wanted you as the producers, as the directors to navigate this story through with me, and you keep scratching it off. And so I'm not interested anymore. You're losing my interest because I'm coming in here as a spectator, excited, intrigued to see where this story is going to go. Because you already know the end. I know that you know the end because you produced it. I don't know the end, but you do. So help me. I'm excited about this journey. But if you keep saying, no, scratch that. Hold on, no, watch this. No. Well, scratch that. No, scratch that. Watch this. No. Watch this part. Right. No, right here. No, don't watch that. But watch. No, scratch that too. I'm like, I like you're making my head. You're making my head hurt right now, and I'm not. I've lost interest because you're doing a terrible job leading me through this journey, and that's why I feel a lot of times when it comes to Raw, it's just no. Watch. I don't know. No. That the storyline was going that way, but no, scratch that. Come back over here. No. Come back over here. Go this way. No. I don't want to go that way. No, go this. No, scratch that. No, okay. And that's why the ratings tank because you keep doing that to a lot of people, even if they've been watching it for a while. You keep doing that to a lot of people, they're just going to lose interest, and that's what happens a lot with Raw. You do that, and then unfortunately, they just lose interest. So. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Chris Featherstone. Ice Train is probably asleep, and and he'll probably most likely he will text me and say, "My bad, I fell asleep." I guarantee you, he will text me in the morning and say that. So, Ice Train, you were supposed to be a part of the show tonight, but you you fell asleep on me, man. That's what you get for being old. So that's my buddy though. But I was expecting him on the show, but we had fun, guys. It was fun, super fun, guys. So I'm Dr. Chris Featherstone. This is another episode of Legion of Raw. Be sure to stay posted, stay fresh, stay afresh with Sportskeeda. Follow Sportskeeda Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and follow me at Chris Prolific, y'all. As many people watch this show, go over there now. Go over to Twitter and Instagram and follow me at Chris Prolific. Go there as soon as I get off the air. I want to see an influx of new followers on Twitter and Instagram. All right. So for all you awesome fans who support the Legion of Raw podcast every week, who support Unscripted every week, go to Chris Prolific on Instagram and Twitter. And I want to get a big old influx of followers, and I appreciate all of your wonderful, wonderful support. So I am Dr. Chris Featherstone, and This has been another episode of Legion Raw podcast. And always remember, what a rush. Have a good night, everybody. Goodbye.